All right. I have the pleasure of sitting down today with Bill Keever, a member of our community who I've just had the great pleasure of chatting with for the past 20 plus minutes, and really a fascinating story and background, really colorful. I won't try to go through all of it. I'll have you actually, Bill, just give us a 30-second explanation of if you can just walk us down the military you're showing at the Olympics, just very briefly, because I think that's pretty incredible and just interesting for folks to hear.
Yeah, sure, Andy. Thanks. Thanks for having me. I grew up in North Carolina. Discovered pretty early I had a God-given talent for shooting, pursued that into the military, and then was fortunate enough to make the 2000 Olympic team and compete in Sydney, Australia. I did not win a medal, finished 12th there, but still a pretty significant achievement in my life. Went on to finish a military career that spanned a total of 24 years. In the last 10, 15 years, I've been running businesses here in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thanks. And Bill, you've been with us since October, so just a couple months. Can you break down for me, bring me back to a couple months ago and where you were at that made you take action and put your foot down, make the decision that you're moving forward with this and looking to change your reality?
Yeah, sure. So I exited my last company in July. Haven't been doing anything really since then, just some introspection. And my wife does Instagram. She came across Graystone and shared it with me. We sort of looked into that. I saw the value in it pretty quickly. So we signed up and got started. And my background, like I have this thirst for knowledge. I wanted to know everything right away, and there's so much to learn. I gave the analogy, if I sat down in a cockpit of a 747, I would be overwhelmed. And when I'm on the first trading call with Nick and he's using all of these terms, I had no idea what he was talking about and I felt lost. But um, what I elected to do was just to sit in that, take notes and about terms, Google those, continue to watch the videos, um, and just let that absorb over time. And it took probably 30 days, and I started to understand most of the terms. And still, even after 2 months, occasionally something will be said that I'm not 100% sure on. So again, I choose to Google and make sure you use some trusted sources for that, and then verify it. But it's more like a crock pot, right? It just takes time. Where in our society, everybody wants the answers right now, immediately, and really don't want to do the work to go find it. So I would encourage people to kind of sit quietly, listen, allow it to absorb, and it'll work out for you.
Yeah. And the reality is, and I think I say this in the first video and in the first module in the program, is that it's learning a new language. And it would be the craziest thing. This would be the only thing that exists in the world, the only skill where you become a master in a day or a week or a month. I mean, the truth is, in 30 days, you said it, right? You made a massive amount of progress where you're, in 2 months, you're fluent, and 30 days in, you felt nearly fluent essentially in the language. And so, yeah, like anything, it certainly takes a bit of time, and that's why we provide the various resources and the various learning styles that we do. But it's absolutely right, and you've certainly taken that action that's required to become fluent in this new skill and language. Can you tell me what has been most impactful for you? What has the program done for you that's led you to be so excited and happy with your experience?
I think one of the things it's really taught me a lot about myself and my tendencies. When I watched one of Louis' episodes on emotions, and as men, we're probably not great at talking about our emotions and why they may exist, but having a deeper understanding of why I do certain things certain ways. So for me, it was truly more about my personal growth than a necessarily a financial gain. I'm not going to give the money back, right? I'm appreciative of the gains that I have seen. But yeah, I think it's just that. And even when I do have a trade that loses, where I don't make a profit, having the risk mitigation system in place, um, whether I win or lose is less relevant than whether I did it correctly. And I relate that back to my shooting career. I wanted to execute flawlessly in training, right? In a competition, hits and misses mattered, but in training, I just wanted to train my body to react in a certain way at a certain given time in the future. And that's the way that I'm approaching trading, right? I want to make sure that I understand key levels and why they're drawn at certain points. And whenever we reach outside that with full conviction, be able to execute trades.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. You said something really powerful there about being emotional. And men love to say that we're very logical beings and women are emotional. But the reality is that who do you see getting such powerful road rage where they're getting out of their car and fighting other people? It's men. You would never see a woman
Right,
do that, right?
right,
And so being aware of that, of the natural instincts that we have, and um, acting in a way to put fences in front of that, to make it so that, as long as we follow a very particular framework and we're deliberate in the environment that we're in, who we're surrounding ourselves with, the type of energy that we have, as long as you focus on what you can control and then stick to those same steps, you indeed can, as you said when we were chatting before we started recording, you can abide by this system that makes it so that you don't even need to be a professional manager of your emotions. And that's what is so powerful for me about our system. It's really what changed everything for me in my trading, because since I was 8, 9 years old, I knew I wanted to trade forever. I knew I wanted it to be a big part of my life forever. And I had a really scary moment where in my first year of trading, um, at the end of it, at the end of the first year, when I lost everything, I realized that even in those first 6 months, when things were going really well and I turned $5,000 into over $50,000, even then, it was super unsustainable to be waking up at 4 a.m., to be having, because I wasn't following any of these rules that we now teach of trading with 10% of your overall account per trade and selling, right? Any of these things, I would just have these enormous swings in emotion where I would be, the jumping off the walls with excitement about tripling my account in like 30 minutes, and then just devastated by losing 90% of my account the next day. It just was not a way that I could ever live sustainably. Um, and so that's when I realized like that's the reality of trading if you don't have this sort of system. And it seems that that's been really powerful for you as well. And being able to understand it, internalize it on a personal level as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the risk mitigation that you put in place, not having in-depth knowledge of stock markets and indices and things like that. When I started, it's scary, right? You don't even know where to begin. But when you have a system that you've laid out that says, okay, here's how much money you're going to put in, and each individual gets to choose how much that is based on the number of contracts they purchase and the level at which they purchase those. I know going in what my downside risk is, and I'm 100% okay with losing all of that, right? I'm not going to take money to a casino that I can't afford to lose, right? It's that kind of old adage, not that I gamble, but um, the point is, and then being able to take profits off the table as the um, SPY or QQQ goes up or down, depending on if you're playing calls or puts, being able to take those profits off and taking risk off the table, like I said, just made sense to me, right? And
Yeah.
then being risk averse financially, that was like, well, that totally makes sense. I can do that.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Bill, what aspect of the program would you say has spoken to you most or been most impactful? Would it be the one-on-one coaching aspect, the live trading, the pre-recorded course material, um, the various coaches? What would you say that has been most helpful for you?
Uh, the course material, I think, does a great job at laying a foundation. And it takes some time to get through that. There's a lot of material there, and it's all really important. But I would say for me, the live trading sessions have been super impactful. I'm blown away each day by Nick's knowledge of understanding at depth and scale of why things happen and what are causing things to happen in certain ways. Um, and that just fascinates me, the depth of knowledge that he has. And I continuously jotting down terms and doing my research. So that has really started to build the framework on the foundation that was laid through the course material.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's helpful. Last question for you, Bill. What would you say to yourself a couple months ago, when your wife first showed you one of our posts on Instagram or whatever it was that she showed you, um, and you had some sort of excitement? You said you saw value right away, but what would you say to yourself in that state, or someone who's sort of on the fence about taking action to change their reality and improve both where they're at financially, and like you've talked a lot about on this call, which is transforming themselves on a personal level as well?
Yeah, I think the word that really comes to mind is opportunity. And no one becomes wealthy working a 9 to 5.
Mm,
That just isn't a thing. You have to be able to figure out how to generate multiple streams of revenue. I love the fact that you guys encourage people to continue to work and then supplement trading accounts with free cash flow to be able to scale accounts. So for me, that the opportunity um, at some point, whether that's a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever that number is, to have um, to this system be able to change my life and the trajectory of my life, and be able to potentially create generational wealth.
yeah, that's fantastic. I love it, Bill. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to sit down with you here today, and thank you for sharing. I think everyone will really appreciate the insight that you've shared, and I look forward massively to seeing your continued growth in our program. And I know we chatted a lot about tactically how we can achieve your goal, and I know with a very high level of confidence that you'll crush it. And I look forward in hopefully being a partner in that journey.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I'd like to close and just say that I truly appreciate you taking the time to develop this and create this community. So it's been a true pleasure for the last couple of months and looking forward to where we go in the coming years.
All right. Thanks so much, Bill.
All right. Thanks, Andy.